welcome back to Beyond the Gate, our Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood podcast. I'm Megan.
And I'm Meg.
And we are talking about episode 15, Envoy from the East, which is an episode we've been waiting for.
Yes, in this episode, the Elrics scuffle with Ling Yao and his attendants, Lan Fan and Fu, visitors from Xing seeking the Philosopher's Stone. Ed may not like him, but Ling Yao's not leaving until he gets what he wants.
And no, he is not leaving. We can confirm that. And this episode covers manga chapter 32, Envoy from the East, and chapter 33, Showdown in Rush Valley.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and a note from the last episode, we totally skipped over a kind of an important part, in one of the final scenes where we're all Lust and Envy and all those guys are chatting. The Fuhrer mentions that Azumi and Al would be good human sacrifices. I don't know, it's
And something was mentioned in a previous episode about Ed being a good candidate for sacrifice or something.
Yeah,
something
yeah,
of the sort. When they rescued him from the fifth laboratory, was it?
Yes, and then I think they also alluded to something, in episode 3 with, when they were in
Lior?
Yeah, Lior, where they wanted to protect him.
Right. But we wanted to just briefly catch up on that.
Yes, just briefly mention that because we forgot.
It might be important later. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. All right. So, also in this episode, there is a new intro and outro. We are not going to cover it in this episode, but we're going to release a short bonus episode later in the week, probably on Friday. Just discussing the new intro and outro, just because we didn't want our episode to be too long like they always are. All right. Now we can get into the episode. So it starts out with a really big explosion in a city. I think they don't say, but I'm pretty sure it's where the Eastern headquarters are located. And we see Scar is the cause of this explosion. He's battling this silver alchemist who, I don't know, reminds me of the Penguin, from Batman. I don't know why, but
I can see it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the first time we watched it, I was like, "Hey, it's the Penguin." And so they're fighting. Scar is back to his old tricks. He blows off the guy's leg,
and a peg leg or something.
Yeah, and the alchemist falls in the water, and Scar jumps in after him and blows his face off.
You don't see any of this. You just see blood rise to the surface of the water.
Blood rise to the surface, but
we all know what happened.
Yeah, we can assume what happened. And then Scar comes back to this abandoned building, and we see he is with this Yoki dude, who got banished from the
mining town.
From the mining town.
Usewell mining town.
Yeah, and also the camps.
The refugee camps.
Yeah. Yep. And he has rescued this young girl who had collapsed on the side of the road, and she introduces herself as Mei Chang.
Mm-hmm.
And Scar at first tries to kick her out, but during his fight he was injured, and she uses a technique called alkahestery to heal him. That gives him pause.
Of course.
And
she's useful.
Yeah, exactly. And she tells him that that she's from Xing, and she has brought her adorable, like, miniature, like, pet panda named Xiao Mei, and it's really cute because, well, at first I was like, when Scar like reaches out for
You thought he was gonna kill the panda.
I thought he was gonna like blow its face off, like totally destroy it. But then Megan told me that it's hinted that he likes animals.
Yeah, he was going to pet it.
Yeah.
The mangaka in her little short comics at the end of the chapters, she kind of, it's a joke, but I feel like it does kind of play into his personality, but he likes cats just as much as Al does in the joke comics, so I think he does have a soft spot for animals.
Yeah. And then May also notices Scar's tattoos, and she says they are from alkahestery origin, which is interesting.
Yeah. May is a very interesting character. I didn't know what to think of her at first, but I really like her character design. She's very cute. I was very confused as to what her age was because she's so little, but I think I heard somewhere that she's supposed to be 11 years old. Thereabout. 11 or 12, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
And she, it's really cute, but she is there in Amestris, on a journey to search for immortality, and she has this massive crush on Edward because, she's heard so much about this Full Metal Alchemist, and she's like, he has golden hair and golden eyes, and she's imagining this just perfect, princely, tall, elegant guy, which, Ed is a scruffy kid, so that's way off base. But I wanted to mention her introduction in the manga, is very long. It's impactful too. She is not rescued by Yoki, which I was glad because that really does not fit into his personality. He would sooner kick a kid out on the streets and let them starve. But she was rescued by one of the kids from the Usewell mining town, which again, that location is popping up. So go back and read the manga, the chapter 1 of the manga, if you want to know more. But she meets the people from the mining town. She even rescues a couple of miners when there's a cave-in in one of the mining shafts. And when she explains her goal, her mission, and why she's in Amestris, and mentions alkahestery and wanting to learn more about alchemy, the mining town people mention Ed and Al, and that's where she gets this notion of Ed being this amazing prince that saves people and is powerful and handsome. Not saying Ed is bad looking, but he's not up to her standards.
Yes, which we'll see what happens when she meets him later.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah. Anyway, we meet this adorable new character, who has interesting motivations. I don't know, a kid searching for immortality is interesting. I don't know. Yeah. Like when I was a kid, I wasn't thinking about, maybe it was, I don't know.
When I was 12, I think it was just starting to dawn on me, like the facts of life, like life isn't forever, but I would never have gone looking for a way to live forever.
No.
Well, I don't want to live forever.
No. But anyway, after this introduction, Scar kind of reluctantly lets her join them. So then we go to Riza, who is walking her dog, Black Hayate. Brief detour. So in the manga, there's this really fun story about how she came to have Black Hayate, and we thought we'd talk about it really quickly. I don't know if you went back and read it, but I did.
I remember it enough. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So one of Mustang's underlings Fury found a dog, and he can't take it in himself, but wants to find somebody who will. And so it's basically him like going around asking everybody like, hey, do you want to take this take this dog? And we see that Breda, he hates dogs, so he's afraid of dogs. Yeah, he's like definitely afraid of them. He won't take them. Havoc makes a bunch of jokes about eating the dog, so Fury won't give it to him. He also asks Ed and Al, and Ed's like, no, we travel too much, we can't take care of it. And then there's also like this, it's kind of funny, as Ed is talking, we hear a meow come from Al's armor. He has a cat. And
that's like, you put another cat in there again? Yeah, I told you we can't have a pet.
Yeah,
and Al cries. He's like, you're so mean, brother.
Yeah, he's so cute. You like see him running away, crying, like, you're so mean, Dad, I hate you. Like, just like, that part made me laugh. And then he tries to give it to Mustang, and Mustang is at first
I love dogs.
He loves dogs, and he says dogs are man's best servant.
I think it's called man's best friend, Mustang.
Yeah. And Fury's like, nope, you would not be a good owner. And then Mustang suggests that Hawkeye might take the dog, and she does, and it's kind of the last scene in the story. It's very funny because the dog like pees on the wall, and Fury's like, oh, I guess it's not house trained, and Riza just like pulls out her gun and like shoots like all around the dog, and the dog is like pinned up against the wall, like afraid for its life, and all the guys are like horrified, and she's like, this is where you go to the bathroom, and then you just see the dog like nodding furiously, and then it ends with this little quote, when the commotion finally died down, each member of the East City HQ vowed to never oppose the lieutenant.
Yes, and in case you're wondering, this was animated in the 2003 Full Metal Alchemist.
Yep. Yeah, and it's fun. So anyway, Riza is walking Black Hayate, and we are reintroduced to Barry the Chopper. He tries to chop Riza up, but she seriously like doesn't react at all, and just like pulls out her gun and like tries to shoot him.
She has weapons concealed on her person that you never would have guessed she had.
Yes. And then Barry like tries to freak her out by showing his body, and she's like not surprised and just tries to shoot him again. Yeah. And well, Barry first is the one, or like no, she first like,
you're like a guy that I know.
Yeah, and then Barry's like, oh, you must mean Alphonse. And
he's like, that Alphonse guy.
Yep.
And apparently Al made as much of an impression on him as he did on Al.
Yeah. And then Barry tries to hit on her, and Riza's not impressed.
I want to interject a manga moment here, which I'm just sorely disappointed they didn't animate this, but basically Riza, she's able to take care of herself, but she does alert Mustang to the fact that she's found Barry, and they want information out of him, and so he meets with her and Barry in the manga, and when he comes up to them, Barry's like still hitting on her and saying things like, come here, sweetheart, let me chop you up. And you just see this panel with Roy with like fire eyes, and he's holding his fingers like he's about to snap. He goes, "Step aside, Lieutenant. There's going to be fire tonight."
They're very protective.
Yes, I love it. It's like when we get these overprotective boyfriend moments, they're not in a relationship, but he's acting kind of like a jealous boyfriend. I love seeing him lose his cool like that.
Yeah, well, not the only time he almost loses his cool during that scene, because while they're talking with Barry, they kind of learn like all about the fifth laboratory and kind of what went down. And they originally, like, they want to go after the researchers who made the Philosopher's Stone, but they were all used to make it, so they can't really talk to them.
What a great job, right?
Yeah, cover your tracks. And then at the end of the conversation, Roy asks Barry if he killed a man named Hughes in a phone booth, and you can see, like, it's kind of scary, honestly.
He has like this steely
mm-hmm.
gaze.
Yeah. And obviously we already know that it wasn't Barry, so that's kind of the end of the conversation. And now we go back to Rush Valley. Ed and Al have gone there because Ed has ruined his arm once again, and of course she beats him up for it. But then proceeds to patch up his arm, and kind of, I don't know, there's kind of like a little like catch up discussion, like how has your progress been, and
they're very vague when they talk to her, and I think that kind of frustrates her a little bit, but she knows by now to just take the information she can get and be patient with them until they're ready to say more.
Yeah, but it's kind of a sweet moment. I love, like, there's like old buddies like catching up, and I love it. But then Winry needs to go out to get more supplies to fix Ed's arm. So Ed and Al are just wandering around Rush Valley. They are very bored because there's only automail shops. And it's kind of cute because Ed's like just like drinking juice for some reason, like
orange juice glass, and he's got the straw hanging out of his mouth.
Yes, very, very relaxed, and bored. And then Al finds something in an alley, and I don't remember if they say this in the anime or not, but in the manga, Ed's at first like, "Oh, it looks like you found like another stray cat."
Got a stray?
But then Al holds up a strange-looking man.
And Ed is so surprised that he does a spit take of his juice. I think that's the whole reason the mangaka had him drinking juice in the first place, was so he could do a spit take. And in the manga, he says, "Take him back to where you found him." And I was like, how can you be so mean? Because this guy is passed out in an alley. But luckily they have pity, or Ed has pity, I mean. And the next scene in the anime is at a little outdoor cafe.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and Ling has... Oops.
What is his name? Huh?
The strange man has eaten a lot, and he's like, "Thanks, dude, for paying." And Ed's like, "I didn't say I was gonna pay." But then this guy says that he's also from Xing, and he came through the desert, and Ed and Al are like kind of shocked. But then he's like, "I wanted to visit the ruins of Xerxes," and he's trying to learn as much as he can about alkahestery and alchemy. And they kind of have a little discussion about the differences between alkahestery and alchemy. In Xing, alkahestery is used for medical purposes, while alchemy is used more by the military and used in like conflicts and
a show of power.
Yeah, and they kind of talk about how Amestris is always like at war with its the countries that it borders.
Yeah, border disputes and
Ed,
skirmishes.
Yeah, and Ed also notes that there have been a lot more conflicts ever since this Fuhrer has come into power.
Gee, I wonder what's up with that.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. But anyway, then this guy introduces himself as Ling Yao, and he tells him that he's searching for the Philosopher's Stone, and Ed like just lies about knowing anything about it, and
Ed should have just kept his mouth shut.
Yeah,
he can't. He's a bad liar.
Yeah, Ling like sees right through that. And then and they'll try to like extricate themselves from the conversation, but then Ling like snaps his fingers and these two guards like come out of nowhere and threaten Ed and Al. And Ling reveals that he is searching for immortality. And now are like, nope, we're not gonna be part of this. But then the two guards like start beating him up, and they Al runs off with one, and Ed runs off with the other one, and Ling orders dessert.
Honestly, same.
Yeah, be like, all right, I'm just gonna chill here.
Yeah.
So Ed and one of the masked guards are fighting, and my note says makes a dead pipe, but he makes a lead pipe, and I don't know.
He's fighting with this person, and just he's using alchemy to make his weaponry. The masked person is very acrobatic, and Ed is having difficulty fighting them. He's not like getting beat up like with greed, but it is he's breaking a sweat obviously to try to keep up.
Yeah. But then he like kind of threatens or like makes fun of Ling, and the person that he's fighting gets you can tell that they get angry and sloppy, and Ed kind of dawns on Ed like, I found your weakness.
Weapon.
Yeah. I like that. He's always thinking during a fight, like he's looking for his advantage.
Yeah.
But then we see the other guard is chasing Al, and we get to see Panina again. She comes up beside him, and they're like they're both like running for their lives. And then we go back to Ed, and he starts mocking Ling, and he gets the upper hand on this person, and he reaches for the mask and uses Scar's technique again and destroys it, and it's not a guy like he assumed, but it's a girl.
Who could have seen that coming?
Yeah, shocking. Which Megan reminded me of this, but the first time we watched it, like we both were like, "Oh, that's totally a girl." Yeah, that's totally a girl. So we were not shocked, but like Ed was. But then after that reveal, we go back to Al, and we see like the guard that's chasing him notices that Al has no chi because he's just a soul bonded to a suit of armor. And then Panina surprises the guard by shooting her cannon, and we see Al for the first time just claps his hands and uses alchemy to capture the guard. And then the girl that's fighting Ed, she throws a bomb, and
there's just mass destruction.
Yeah.
And you can see her kind of tearing up, and she's like, I went too far. Please forgive me, Master Ling.
Yep. And then we see Ed's metal arm, automail arm, sticking up out of the rubble, but it was a fake out, because he detached his arm, and he's able to, like, I don't know, he builds like it basically like a trap that you would use to like capture, like, I think they did it in when they were on the island, like,
to capture the rabbits.
Yep. Yeah, and so he's got her.
So this whole fight between Ed and this girl in the manga is kind of compared to when Ed fought Panina in Rush Valley, mass destruction, and him fighting a girl again and showing no mercy.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was interesting that all his big battles that aren't super, heavy for the story, all of these things happen in Rush Valley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in this fight, I would say, though, he isn't the one that causes the most destruction.
Right.
And he also wins, where I would say in his fight with Panina,
he kind of lost that one.
Yeah, he kind of lost that one. So both the guards have been captured, and then Ling shows up, but so do the townspeople, who are not happy about their town being destroyed. And the guy from the restaurant, he wants his bill to be paid, and Ed's like, "What? None of this is my fault." And Ling
he pretends to not speak a word of the Emestrian language.
Yep, and he runs off with his guards, leaving Ed and Al to pick up the mess. And Al are kind of stuck with facing the villagers or the townspeople. And Ed is at first like, I can't fix anything, my arm's gone. But then Al says he'll fix everything, because now he can do the
clapping alchemy.
Yeah, I know. There's the clapping alchemy. Yeah, and he doesn't need a transmutation circle. And in that moment, Ed realizes that Al has now surpassed him, and we see like the little like the scales, and it's like height, good fighter, good, like a superior alchemist, and then like that's what Al's got, and Ed's just got alchemy and what, older brother's pride or something like that. Yeah. The scale just kaboom tips in Al's favor, and Ed is KO'd. Yeah. And he's writing something in blood on the ground. I think it says like brotherly or big brotherly pride or something like that. But in the manga, it's way funnier, because in tiny little text next to Ed as he's lying on the ground, he's muttering, "They might as well start calling this manga Armored Alchemist beginning with the next episode." Yes, breaking the fourth wall a little bit. And then also something that made me laugh in the manga is like on the scales, like we also, on Al's side, there's also just like cats with a question mark. I don't know what that means. Like, it just made me laugh. Al's love of cats apparently is taken into account. And then so Al's gonna fix everything, and Ed obviously pays the bill. And then when they're all done with that, Ed and Al head back to the shop that Winry is working at, and Ling is there, and Ed immediately slaps him with his broken arm and is like, okay, Ling deserved that though. Yeah, he did. He left him with the bill and with the destruction of the town, and yeah, Ed is very angry. But then Ling tells Ed and Al that he's a prince, which makes Ed and Al immediately like bust out laughing, and they're like on the ground rolling. And then Lanfan like throws a knife. Why do I keep she hasn't been introduced yet.
Oh, we can say her name. It's fine. That's not a huge reveal. Lanfan, she throws her kunai knife at Ed to shut him up, and Ed and Al did apologize for laughing at Ling, or Al apologized at least, but it's like, sorry, we didn't see that coming.
Yeah, because you acted like you were poor, and you collapsed on this, found in an alley, and you seemed like a weakling.
Because you got two retainers. And
yeah. And then Ling introduces his guards, which are Lan Fan, which is the girl, and then Fu, which is the
older gentleman.
The older gentleman, and they work for Ling's family, and their grandfather and granddaughter.
Yeah.
And then we also find out that Xing has 50 clans, and I think it's the emperor, like
the emperor takes a bride from each clan.
Each one, and then so he has 19 daughters and 24 sons, and so we kind of find out that Ling is trying to fight for his place.
Yes, he
wants
say
to be emperor.
He said he's like 21st of the sons or something like that. I'm probably getting that wrong.
I don't remember. I don't remember him saying what he was.
He said he said his place somewhere in there, and I think it was kind of in the middle-ish. So he definitely doesn't have claim to the throne based on birthright. Mm-hmm. He's not the oldest son.
Yeah. And then Ling tries to ask Ed about the Philosopher's Stone again, and Ed refuses to speak about it. And he says it's not for trying to gain immortality. That's not the purpose of it. And also, like, Ed knows about, how the Philosopher's Stone was made, so he just doesn't want it to be used in general.
Yeah, he doesn't want that to be out in the black market. He doesn't want that to be common knowledge to people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, while they're talking, Winry comes back, and she sees that Ed's arm has now been detached from his body, and
beats him up bad.
Yeah.
I wanted to insert another manga note. Just the visual humor in these chapters is peak, but the manga panel after she sees Ed with his arm detached is so funny. It's like this beautiful sunset on a beach scene, and Ed is running away going like, he can't catch me, and Winry's chasing after him, like lovers playing a game of tag, except she has a chainsaw in her hands. And a few panels later, we see Ed's pixelated body on the ground, and Panina's like poking him with a stick, and he's pixelated because she beat him up so bad that they can't show it in the manga.
Yes, he's basically a pile of goo. And then we find out that the Elrics are going back to Central, and Winry wants to come with them to see the Hughes family, which is
so sad.
Yeah, very sad.
They have no idea.
And Ling says he is coming too, even though Ed very much does not want him to, and it's very funny in the manga because Ling, or I don't know, like Ling is like, "Oh, you're my friend," and Ed is like, "No, no, you're not." And then we see like Al in the background saying like, "Oh, yeah, brother, you have a new friend."
He's scooching away.
Yeah, he's scooching away, and Ed's like, "You just don't want him to be your friend."
I'm stuck with him now.
Yeah. That's not the last scene of the episode. We go back to Scar and Yoki and Mei traveling to Central also, and just Yoki is asking Scar what his name is, and he says that Scar says that Ishvalan names are sacred, and he has renounced his. And then he crushes a walnut with his
2 walnuts.
With his bare hands, which
shuts Yoki up pretty fast.
Yeah, and Megan was very impressed by that.
Well, how strong do you have to be to crush 2 walnuts simultaneously with your fist?
Yes, and I said, did you not see how swole that man was? I'm not surprised he can do that.
No, he has some workout regimen.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the end of the episode.
Yeah, that's the end.
Yeah. So now we move on to voice actor notes, and we're going to do our 2 Xing friends that we met, Ling and Mei. So Ling Yao is played by Todd Haberkorn, who is Marlo Frudenberg from Attack on Titan, Jengthru from Hunter x Hunter, and Hikaru Hitachin from Ouran High School Host Club. And Mei Chang is played by Monica Real, who is Suyu Asui from My Hero Academia, Rengi Hoshakuchi from Ouran High School Host Club. Sorry, I've never watched the show. I just know it's popular. And Milla from Fire Emblem. And we actually met Monica Real at the Comic-Con. At the Comic-Con.
At the
Comic-Con.
No,
it was kind of a small one compared to the others, but
yeah, I'm sure it was. But
she was so nice.
Yeah, she was super nice. Anyway, and
we did ask her about playing Mei in
I can't remember.
She just, I think the gist of it was she said she had a blast playing Mei, and I guess it's kind of weird to play a child character, but she did it very well. And also another fun little story, when we waited in line to see her for quite some time. And we went up to say hi. I actually had drawn a little piece of fan art for her. I drew Sue from My Hero Academia. And when I gave it to her, she was really cute. Gave it to her. She said she loved it. And then she kind of like glanced at the staff worker next to her and made sure they weren't looking, and slipped her hand over to grab one of the posters at her signing table. And she's like, whenever my fans give me something, I like to give them something back. And she signed a poster of Sue and gave it to me for free. And Meg was with me, so she took another, like her contact card or whatever, and signed that for Meg for free.
Yeah. It was awesome.
So super sweet.
Super, super nice. But yeah, we met her, and also we went to Comic-Con this past summer for the first time, and it was really fun. And we also may or may not have cosplayed a little bit.
A little bit? How about a wig, man?
Yes. And if you guys are interested, we would love to have a bonus episode where we talk about that and everything that we saw. And yeah, but we thought that might be fun. We'll probably put something in our Instagram, like a poll or something. See if you guys are interested in that. But anyway,
moving on. Sorry.
Yes.
Just wanted to mention that little tidbit.
Sorry, but not sorry.
Yeah, not really. Okay, so Ling, his name is of Chinese origin. And it means sound of jade or dawn. There were also more options when I Googled it, like alert, chime, compassionate. It was kind of hard to see exactly what it meant, but that's what Google came up with. Mei's name is also Chinese, and it means plum or beautiful. And again, multiple options came up for that one. If you hadn't guessed, Xing is loosely based on China. You hadn't guessed by Mei's panda. Yao and Cheng are very old Chinese surnames. Cheng can mean prosperous or flourishing, and Yao means 8 great kings of high antiquity. So they are definitely very prominent names. So
we thought we would briefly talk about our first impressions of these characters, because they are personalities. What did we think of Ling? The first time we watched the show, we met him for the first time.
I'm sorry to say I did not care for Ling when we first met him. I am a fan of keeping shows with the original gang. Introducing new characters is fine, but it seemed like right away he was going to be a part of the show heavily. And I was like, I don't get his purpose. He is very over the top. He's goofy, but in a way where I can't read him. He seemed kind of shifty.
Yeah, it was really hard to read his intentions. I'm pretty sure they call him shifty in the manga.
Yes. I think I read in the Wikipedia that Ling is actually very self-conscious about his eyes because people describe him as looking shifty a lot.
Oh.
So he tries to smile a lot so people don't think he's mischievous.
Oh, that's kind of sad. Yeah, and then honestly, I thought he was annoying. I was like, I'm not here for this. Like, get out of here, bro.
I was confused about May. I was like, what is this child doing here?
Yeah, like, she's so young.
Yeah.
Like,
her panda is adorable, though.
Like, why is she traveling alone? And also, why is she searching for immortality? Like, that's so strange.
Yeah.
And then the Lanfan and Fu, too serious.
I like them. Well,
too serious for me. Like, I was like, I don't know. I also didn't love them at the beginning. I mean, I appreciated their loyalty, but
Lanfan's like the fact that she got so ticked when Ed was making fun of Ling, I was like, oh, there might be too much attachment there for a retainer. But
yeah.
I liked her okay because she kind of reminded me of Mulan, and that's one of my favorite Disney princesses. And then Fu, I like those grandfatherly characters in stories. So I was like, I like this guy, and he's moving around very well for his age. So I don't know. I think their fighting style is pretty neat, and I like the masks. Even though I think Longfan's is kind of ugly, but I like the concept of the masks.
Yeah. Well, overall, besides May I was just confused about, but the other three, like, I was like, we'll see how this goes.
I think you had a good feeling about Longfan though, because you heard her voice and you're like, oh,
yeah.
But we'll get into that later.
That is true. I forgot about that.
All right. Moving on. Animation notes. I have a note about the character design. There's a dichotomy between Ed and Ling's design. So whereas Ed has yellow hair and black clothing, Ling has black hair and yellow clothing. Ling has narrow eyes, Ed has wide eyes. Ling is tall, Ed is short. But they both have long hair, so there's one similarity. But I just thought it was interesting how they contrast each other quite a bit. And their personalities too. Like, I'm not saying that Ed isn't goofy at times, but when he first meets people, he tends to be on the wary side, and Ling is more of like, he meets somebody and he is cracking jokes the whole time, all the while studying them and getting a read on them.
Good job.
Woo, thanks.
I like it, and I agree. I think it is interesting, and as we get to know the characters more, I think the contrasts make more sense.
Yeah.
All right. So I do want to talk about alkahestery a little bit. I mostly will be referencing this article that called Full Metal Alchemist: 10 Things You Need to Know About Alkahestery. That can be found on cbr.com. I think they do a pretty good job of summarizing everything, and so I won't be sharing all 10 things because some of them are spoilers. But one thing, so we see May use alkahestery, and she makes this pentagram circle, and that has roots in Chinese philosophy, and it's different from alchemy because usually they use hexagonal circles, and this pentagram is known as a purification circle, and it actually doesn't have any sort of negative connotation.
Oh, really? Because in America, that's a demonic symbol.
Yeah. It literally says doesn't have any negative connotations. Ew. Like many Westerners think when they
got it wrong, guys. Westerners got it wrong.
But instead, it actually references real-life Chinese philosophical concept of Wu Xing, where it says the 5 elements are represented in unison in a 5-pointed star.
Oh, okay.
And it's also interesting that this concept is called Wu Xing, and it's the land. It comes from the land of Xing. Yeah. And then alkahestery is derived from a real world concept that has the same name, and it's different in the real world. It's not medicinal magic, but it's called alkahest and is believed to be a universal solvent, which was a highly sought after among alchemists of the 16th century. Something else that we don't see yet, but they actually did show this in the manga, in the story with Mei in the mining town. Alkahestry can be used over long distances, which alchemy cannot.
She can use her circles to gap distances. Alchemy, you have to touch something and have it spread, but with alkahestry, you can, as long as the points of contact are over where you want to do your transmutation, you can do it from anywhere.
Yeah, and we see her when in the mining town, she throws her little knives. I don't know what her little knives to
Are they
make
shuriken? Or no, kunai. I think they're. Sorry, I'm. Ask your sister about Naruto.
Yeah, she throws these to make the pentagram, and then is able to do that. The goal of alkahestry is finding the elixir of life, and it's the purpose of it is medicinal, which is focused on crafting elixirs, and then another interesting thing about alkahestry is it uses the natural life flow of living beings, and it's also referred to as the dragon's pulse, which kind of a cool name. It uses that as its main source of energy, which is the constant energy flow. And this is also part of the reason why it's used for medicinal purposes mainly, instead of fighting. And alkahestry does have the ability to heal minor wounds and also damaged organs. So it has it's pretty powerful. Yeah, that's all I have, or that's all I can share now.
That's pretty cool. Thanks for looking that up, because I didn't know a lot of that. Yeah, and I hope we can discuss it more, because obviously a lot of research went into this series for making the magic system.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on to the next segment, philosophical analysis. We're not going to get too heavy into this, but we were thinking about the quest for immortality, and is that really a good thing to pursue? What are the moral implications? Why would you want to pursue that? Just on a basic level. I mean, if you've ever read Tuck Everlasting, you know that eternal life on Earth, anyways, isn't all it's cracked up to be. If you're talking about eternal life and in a heavenly sense, that's another topic entirely, but thought we'd just mention that. You can kind of think on it, and this will probably pop up again given Ling and Mei's goals.
Yeah. Personally, for me, immortality, it's something that I've never been interested in.
Yeah.
Myself.
I mean, I've heard stories about searching for the fountain of youth and whatever, and I guess it sounds appealing, but why waste your life looking for something that you might not ever find, and then once you get it, your life's goal is complete, so why do you want to keep living that long if there's nothing else to search for or look forward to?
Yeah.
It's a moot point. But anyway, and the next segment, the story elements analysis, we sort of already covered, just the introduction of new characters and how that's important to a storyline. But yeah, that's about it for those areas.
Yes. Now, what was your favorite line of the episode, Megan?
It's one that Ling said, and one that I was kind of concerned of when we first heard it, because it can sound offensive in certain context, but it's when Ling is shifting the blame for destroying the town and paying for the bill. So sorry, I don't understand much language of this country. Okay, bye-bye now.
Yeah, that...
I think it's line, like the shifty thing he does with his hands.
Yeah. He like just backs away.
He like wiggles.
Yeah. I remember that first time I heard that, I like laughed out loud in like shock. Like
I went, is that okay?
Yeah. What did he just say?
And what was your favorite line, Meg?
Yes, mine, I had a hard time picking one. I didn't really have a favorite line. So the one that I picked is when Ed and Al first come back to Rush Valley, where he's like, "Hello there, Winry. You look like you're in a very generous mood today." And then he like holds up his broken arm. And yeah, that's, I don't know.
It was cute.
Yeah, it was cute, and also it's just like kind of funny, like buttering her up.
Yeah.
Before he disappoints her again. Yes. All right. So, what was the moral of this episode?
Be careful who you treat to lunch. You might pick up a stray. Just kidding. Showing kindness to strangers can lead to great things.
Yes, even if it doesn't seem like it at first.
Yep. Keep an open mind when you meet somebody new. Your personalities may clash at first, but sometimes the best friendships form from unlikely pairings.
Yes.
So yeah, who pushed the story forward in this episode?
Let's say Ling and Mei. They introduced us to alkahestery, and also they added a whole new element to the plot. Yeah. Basically, the plot thickens.
Yes, you can tell the story's on a new track when they show up. And I'm glad we get to venture outside of Amestris, too, like to see there are other countries.
Yeah, I like that. I just love world building.
Yeah, it's so good.
Any story, but this one is done pretty well. Yeah. That's the end of the episode. Follow us on Instagram at Full Metal Beyond the Gate, and see the memes that we post, and also if you have any fan art, send it to us. We'd love to share it. And then also check out our YouTube channel. Woohoo. Under the same name. Megan is adding videos to that for you people to check out. Yeah,
I'm a little behind, but it's okay.
And then also if you have any questions or anything, you can DM us or send us an email at fullmetalbeyondthegate@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you guys, and if you give us a review, we will read it at the beginning of the episodes whenever we see one. Anyway, that is it. We will
talk to you. We will talk to you as you listen to our disembodied voices later.
Oh, that was beautiful. All right.
Okay, goodbye before I say anything dumb. Bye.
See you later.